Yeah, for me, colouring pencils, I'm so comfortable using them. In all my sketches I do in pencil, my sketchbooks, I've got a couple of time here with all my drawings in, so I just try to keep working as if I would, as if I was working in a sketchbook. They have quite a nice quality to them, even when they're reproduced, that they almost look like a lithograph, which is an old printmaking process. So I really love that softness they bring, and they're quite rough, so they kind of work well for the nature of the book, I think. Yeah. I want to keep it quite simple, and it felt like a bit of a bold move to do that, just to stick with something quite basic, I suppose. But with one medium you can really push it, and that's what I quite enjoyed, seeing how much I could get out of it using really dark spreads where there's no white space at all, and quite heavily coloured in, compared to the much softer, lighter ones. For example, where they're crossing the ice, it's just using the white of the page, and the pencil is very light there. So trying to push the medium as much as I can was a good experience. Yeah. I've actually got them all here. It's quite a lot. I couldn't tell you how many exactly, but quite a lot. So all of these ones used for the water, things like that, whereas these ones, like the blacks and the sepias, we use for clothing, yeah, things like that. So yeah, I decided for some weird reason to keep them all. I don't know why, I found it quite satisfying seeing them all together, and you can kind of see the amount of work done, I think, by looking at them. Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah, the cover was really good fun to do actually, but it took quite a long time, so there's lots of planning involved. But basically the cover is designed around a compass. So you can see here, this is the general compass shape, and these outer rings contain different characters in the books. Animals, so dogs, seals, penguins, whales, things like that. And we've got each individual crew member in one of these diamonds, which worked out really lucky that worked out. But yeah, there's lots of little plans. I did like sketches here. You can see trying to work out the geometry of it. And then we go into more character sort of based designs here, using the actual colours that I use. So for my sketchbook, you can see the little colour palettes that I was using to work out. So I ended up just using 2 colours, so it was quite minimal. But you can see here how it originated from a very, very loose sketch. And from there, I would work up my designs further. So here, you can see things tightening up a bit more, practicing how I'm going to draw my little characters, how I'm going to make them all different from each other. So I went through quite a long process of lots of thumbnails. These are actually ink sketches, not pencil, but lots of little sketches, how I might make them different. And then working using pencil, and things not looking quite right, so that looks a bit too loose. So I had to think of using borders to break up the different characters until I finally got to my final image here. So you can see it is as it is on the cover really. I think apart from this ring here, it's identical. It's just this little ring here which changed. Yeah. Well, my favourite spread would have to be the Storm, basically because it didn't take too much thinking to do. It was just a spread I knew I wanted a big storm on a page, so that was quite stress-free thinking of the idea, whereas the process, I went through quite a long process of thumbnails. So I started off from my original tiny sketch here, which is just some big storm clouds and some tiny little tents, and then I worked those up for a series of thumbnails like this, practicing how I might draw clouds, whereabouts the tents will be positioned, whether they're going to be in this corner or maybe even smaller or higher up in the page. And then I'd go through again working with mark making and trying to make things more energetic and really get that movement in there, because some of these seemed a little bit static to me. And then I've worked those up again, maybe a little bit larger, practicing my mark making more, which I really enjoyed doing, until I got to these pictures here, which is where my clouds become more looking like clouds and big swooping lines. And practicing these clouds more was really good fun, until I got to the final, which is here, and it's really tiny. But that's one of the strengths I was trying to work to, was working small and then expanding the images on the computer, which amplifies the marks, so it looks even more sort of energetic and windy. The process of putting a book together involves making dummy books, so you can see your spreads in context. So here you can see there's a spread of the boat hitting the pack ice, which I had to change because mast, the front of the boat goes straight through the gutter like that, so that's no good, so I had to change that. But you can see most of the details are the same in the book, and this is just a black and white dummy, so I would have taken this to a publisher halfway through making it just to show them where I'm at. But we went through a series of storyboards, which is lots of tiny little thumbnails together, giving them an idea of the story. And then I worked that up a little bit better into a colour dummy book here. So here you can see some of my spreads and colour, but these are never to be changed as well. This is what I actually took to a design show, and this is where the book got picked up from looking at this. So if anyone's making books out there, it's really important to make little dummy books like this, because you never know. They're really useful. I would say just draw as much as possible and draw what you love, so what you're passionate about. You always make the best drawings from those kind of things. So whatever you're interested in, really, just go for it and try and make stories out of it. If you love storytelling, I would just keep creating lots and lots and lots of things, and you'll eventually wind up somewhere making picture books, I'm sure, if that's what you want to do. So yeah, just practice a lot and don't worry what other people are doing as well.